Hey everybody, Nerd Transform here again, and today I'm reviewing the Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack. Now this isn't from the 2013 Afterward Generations line, this is from the older 2008-ish, 2009-ish Generations line. But as you can see, Wheeljack is very much in his iconic colors here, white car with red and green stripes. Very race car-esque. And it looks very nice. He does have this like odd plate at the front, just kind of sticking out, but also does look cool and it is very Wheeljack-esque. Got like a gunmetal grill here with silver headlights. And the headlights on the back are actually, or the rear lights are actually painted red. With that same gunmetal grill, and you got two pipes here. Also got his trademark, what do you call it? Tailpiece here. And even his wheels, the spokes of them are actually done in gunmetal gray. So you got a lot of paint that you don't see much anymore. And you also got a green stripe along the top, all that symbol on top, all that nice stuff. This is like one of those things that's just kind of missing with modern Transformers, just all the nice paint. I will admit it's kind of odd to have the back windows kind of done in gunmetal gray. But I do like the clear plastic that you use for the front windows, and just actually having the rear headlights in front all nicely painted. And just all the nice detail that's on it. There are these little odd pieces you might notice, these like pipe pieces that kind of stick out. These are actually his weapons in robot mode. And they do fill in this little gap that's right here, but they stick down slightly so the gap isn't completely filled, as you can kind of see right there. You can actually see my finger through there. And it's not loose or anything, it's just, that's just not where it sits is all, because it sticks straight out from right there. So I'm not sure what they were going for with this. I mean, it is a good storage, it's just, it doesn't look, it looks a little odd is all. I guess it was supposed to be more pipes for speed or something, but it just doesn't quite work. For size comparison, here he is with Combiner Wars Prowl and Titans Return Hardhead. So you can see it's a pretty long car, especially next to Prowl here, with that even without the extra blade bit, his headlights do go a bit further. But yeah, like I said, pretty nice details on him. He does look really cool. For transformation, you're going to start by removing these. You see they're just simply clipped on here. Yeah, this is back when Generations was all about like little clips everywhere, much like with Warpath. So there you go, you can see, yeah, it does leave a really ugly gap if you're missing those pieces, so make sure you get those. So to continue it, we're going to come back here, grab the rear like this, and it'll pop it off and start flipping it up. You can actually see his arms in there. As well as this bit where if you come down here and push this little black piece here out, you'll get his other weapon you can pull out, which you can see if you flip it around is Wheeljack's classic shoulder cannon. So we'll put that aside. Go ahead and finish opening up till it's about 9 degrees. You can see his arms are just kind of tucked up in there. Then come to the wheels, and you want to kind of go ahead and just tuck them away back out of the way. Take the door pieces, and they're on a hinge attached to here, where the pipes used to be. And you just want to flip them down in the rear view mirror side pieces will come with it, the door mirrors. Oh yeah, and the arms will unpeg from this piece. It's not the most tight fit, especially once they start separating like that, so that might fall down. Then once you got all that mess going, go ahead and come to the front, untap the grill, and it's actually on a hinge to form the feet. So you just want to bring that down like that. Then come to the top here and untab it, lifting it up. So you can grab the front and it'll actually extend slightly. That's its leg extension. Not very much as far as Transformers go. Go ahead and split the front. Make sure it's fully extended, as you can hear that click. And for the feet, you can grab the front, what was the front wheel, and just kind of push it up on the way to give them a nice flat foot. Come this side, do the same thing. See it's on those little hinges. Make sure everything's straightened out. Now here's where things get a bit interesting. Go ahead and go ahead and remove the arms from this piece. Back up here and just let it fall on back like that. Alright, let's get Wheeljack standing here. He's kind of doing the Frankenstein impression right now. Or zombie impression. Go ahead and straighten out the arms. Bring them down the ball joints. and kind of just have them facing outward. And make sure you flip the wheels towards where they're facing towards the front. Then you're going to grab the windshield. You see it's on these two, I'm not sure, trenches here. This is an automorph gimmick where if you push it up, the shoulder parts will start pushing outward and his head will push up. It depends on where you put your hands, really. You gotta be really careful not to block it. But if you give it a good, there we go. As you can see, the chest widens and the head pops out. So go ahead and bring these down on the hinges. You could have done that sooner, but it's easier to to do the automorph with it all in. Rotate the arms and then rotate the hands through the front to where you have the elbow facing forward. Technically you don't have to do this, but it does make the arm look a bit more solid. So I would recommend doing it like this. So you have his arms there. Now the rest is basically just kibble forming. Go ahead and grab the door pieces, and you see they're also in these trenches that if you pull, will actually extend them outward. And in a neat trick, these can actually rotate upward like this. And you see the actual trenches will actually turn. Bring this back piece down out of the way. Go ahead and rotate these where they're pointing upward. Then within them, there's these little silver pieces that are kind of Wheeljack's iconic little wings that you can flip out. And the last part of the transformation is to come inside the back here. You see this little gray panel that can be pulled up. It's got these two little tabs, and there's two little tab holes right behind Wheeljack's head. So you just line it up as best as you can and tab it right in. Make sure you get everything straightened out. There's a lot of little fiddly bits on this figure, as you can tell. But there, after all that, is your Generations Deluxe class, Wheeljack. Now for this robot mode, I'm not really sure if it's inspired by like an IDW comic or if it's just a narrow classic style of the G1. But it does look really cool, and it does fit in really well with your classics figures. A lot better than the Combiner Wars version did, as he has a lot more paint, looks a lot more like, well, Wheeljack. And if you don't know, Wheeljack's actually a scientist or a mechanic kind of guy. Him and Ratchet actually built the Dinobots from scratch, so pretty cool character. One of my favorites. For size comparisons, here he is next to Combiner Wars Prowl and Titan's Return Hardhead in the robot modes. And you see he's quite a bit shorter. He's not necessarily less plastic, he's just more like wide, and he's more wide than tall is all. Plus he's a lot more bulky than a lot of these characters are, as you can see. So yep, that's his robot mode. So he's a little bit shorter, but like I said, he's a lot wider. So don't think it's less plastic, I think it's just different uses of it. There are a lot of little fiddly bits with him, like you can have the wheels off to the side. You can't really have them behind his arms unless you move a lot of pieces around. But you can have them on the sides instead if you prefer that. I kind of just like leaving them at the front there. Let's see, the wings of course can be adjusted in a bunch of different ways. You could have them pointing down, you could have them put away probably, you could have them more to the side. I prefer to just kind of keep them straight up, and you can also fiddle with the fins at the end as well if you want. Do you like straighten them out a little bit just to kind of keep them flat with the wings? And of course this backpack could be moved a little bit if you wish. Including in these fiddly bits are all of his accessories. For one, you have this piece, which is his iconic cannon. Using the clip on it, there's actually two clip holds here that you can put it right there and just give him his over-the-shoulder cannon, which makes him very much Wheeljack-esque right here. Then you have the two pipes that could be removed earlier. Actually, they need to be removed earlier in order to transform, I think. Yeah, I don't think they would really be able to stay where they were, considering it's buried in there now. He can actually, the box art promotional actually shows him holding them as melee clubs, I guess. Which I guess could work. I wish they'd made them look more like wrenches or something. Which I guess if you flip it around and use the clip at the front, you could make it look like a wrench. I don't know. Don't really care much for this because I never really imagine Wheeljack as a melee user. But he also has the same kind of clip holds right here on the sides of his legs. So you could say fold it down, just kind of have it stored in his leg, or have it facing the other way and having it out over his knee here. Can be kind of tricky to get in there. But if you do, you can give him like a leg cannon, as you can see here. Let's see. Let me get these clips don't really seem to break. They are very good. They don't seem to be anywhere close to breaking, but I would be a little bit careful with them. But you can see you could also give them some kind of leg cannons sticking out. And another way that we've seen very commonly done, I think this is actually the promotional art for him, is to have him holding his cannon, his iconic gun in his hand, and then having these clipped in up here. Let's see. There we go. They do take a second to kind of clip in, but they do fit in just fine. As over-the-shoulder cannons. Not sure why. It actually does not look bad, though. It's not a bad look at all, especially along with his wing set kind of going. It makes him very much look like he's got a lot ready for combat. And you can point them forward to give him some 2 over-the-head cannons. I personally do prefer leaving the G1 gun on his shoulder, but this is not a bad look at all. And I'm glad they give us plenty of options for us. This is the kind of thing I miss from like the old generations. Like, it's just like a lot of options for display. I know not everybody liked the clip system, but it certainly made things interesting. So yeah, you could also have it like that, and yeah, that's actually not a bad look. I guess for a more wartime Wheeljack, it probably works pretty well. So now that we showed all that off, let's talk about articulation. I'm going to set the gun first. Right now, I'm not going to clip anything just because it would take a while. So his head is on a ball joint. You can turn all the way around, and it does look up a little bit and down a little bit. Speaking of, let's just get an up-close look, and it's definitely a Wheeljack head. He's got the faceplate, he's got the silver on the head, the gunmetal grayish, but not quite as dark as the grill was for his mouth. And his eyes and his ear dualies are clear plastic, so if you got some light behind it, they would all glow, which is a pretty nice effect, especially since in the show when Wheeljack talked, his ears would like glow with his talking to show that he was, well, talking. Kind of like how Shockwave's eye would flash. But yeah, he's a pretty cool head, and it does have good articulation. The shoulders, the ball joint itself is a little bit limited. It does go out this far, though, and if you wanted to go a bit further, you can use the transformation hinge, so it's not that big of a deal. It does go full 360, but we'll kind of bang into the wings here. But you can get plenty out of it. As shown, there is a swivel, and you do have a double hinge. So like if we're going to work this wheel, the way you can see, you can actually completely fold up his arm. So it's pretty nice. And his hand actually has a swivel. And this is one of those things we miss from like current Transformers. Well, Hardhead seems to be reminded us that this is still possible. So you can see, if you look at the back of the arm, this is why I kind of swiveled it, turned the arm around to have the elbow forward, because you have all this space, kind of just like where all the plastic was taken out to save money. If you lift up the windshield, he does have a swivel at the waist, which is pretty nice. It just clashes a little bit with the chest plate here, so you might have to work with that a bit. You do get ball jointed legs, once again clashing a bit with the windshield, but they are pretty nice. His legs are really stubby, but it kind of fits for like a mechanic scientist. You do get a really good knee. That's a full 9 degrees. And the best part, as you can see as I just used here, he actually has ball joints in his ankles, as both his heel and his the grill piece are on separate ball joints. And you can actually do quite a bit with it, because, oh yeah, you can also go backward and forward because of the transformation hinge. And it's actually useful since you can actually get him posed using all that. As you can see, just like a lot of good leg poses you don't get with Transformers ever. As you can see, it does do, you can fully twist the grill back and forth, so you can give him a very wide stance. And since the heel spurs actually ball joint too, you can see you can actually get really good poses with that. And the heel, you also fold up the heel spur, but you know, you can also use that for like a, oh, he's got a slip up pose, or like maybe a running pose. Actually, yeah, you might be able, if you were to fiddle with this a bit, you could probably actually get a running pose out of this. So yeah, this isn't on a hinge, but these two pieces are separately ball jointed, so it does make it a little bit odd to pose it, because you have to make sure you have both pieces flat. But just keep your hands on there and just kind of like moving it all around. Works pretty well. So yeah, I'm really glad to see that kind of thing. And like I said, you do get, since they're ball jointed, you can get and this hinge you can get like forward steps too, so it's pretty nice. It makes them look really fluid, really natural looking movements. As natural as a giant robot transforming from a car can get. And as mentioned, these are on hinges, so do whatever you want with the wings. Like I said, I'm just going to leave them up. So yeah, in essence, that is Deluxe Generations Deluxe Wheeljack. A very nice figure that I feel like the Combiner Wars one could have taken quite a few tips from. And that's not like the Combiner Wars one was god-awful, it felt lazy. Especially after a lot of their stuff that series did to change characters. But yeah, overall, I think he's a really good figure. He's probably our best classic style Wheeljack we've gotten. And he's just really good. It's just surprising how much he did with him. Granted, there is a lot of hollowness, like his legs are pretty much just a skeleton with a car shell on it. And that does bug me a little bit, but looking from the front, he looks fine to me. Some people are bugged by how short he is, but I think it still kind of works for like the the brainiac of the group of the G1 characters. So I don't mind it too much. So if you need a classic style Wheeljack, I definitely recommend him. And he's not too pricey. He's only about 20 to 25, and I think that's a good price for him. I wish I picked him up sooner when he was still like 10 to 15 because he's really nice. So this has been Nerdy Transformed. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you have a good day. Take care.